Hello, guys, and welcome back to the wrap up for the 7th of February 2020. This one will be quick, and again, apologize for sound quality. I flew down to Orlando for the Money Show, and that was great. Got to meet a couple of you guys. Had a great time. A lot of cool tech coming out, a lot of interesting things going on down there, but flights on the way back didn't work out very well, so I'm just kind of stranded at a hotel for a few hours here. So figured I would make this video anyway. So here we go. So I'm going to try to do this as quickly as possible. I don't know how long the internet, everything will hold out. So looking at the SPY for this week, it was a pretty interesting week. We had this big kind of surge up from the lows here, and then we've just kind of been chopping sideways. One thing to note, you guys have known I've been studying these RSI divergences a bit, and that is what we're seeing here. So really all that means is that there's just less momentum on this up move than the last up move. Doesn't mean anything for 100% sure, but just something that I'm noting. And as well, you guys know I'm a candlestick guy, and we have an indecision candle all throughout this area, right? People are kind of uncertain, I guess, about this rally. And that doesn't mean it won't continue. It just means for now I'm being a bit cautious with it. So we had two trades trigger yesterday, the APPN, or last week, sorry. There's a good trade through here, $1 or $2 on that, and then Dollar Tree, a loss on that one. Net $1.62. I will add this. I'm just on my iPad right now, which makes things a little bit more complicated, but I will add this to the spreadsheet along with whatever happens this week, and we will I'll show you both of those at the same time next week when I'm home. So what I'm looking at for this week is GGAL. Essentially the synopsis here, we've got kind of this rounded bottom that we broke up out of, and then we've come back to test that. And now we're putting in a little sideways base with some indecision candles there. So kind of a breakout, retest, and then hopefully go. Walmart. And Walmart's kind of the same thing, right? We have had this gap area that was interesting in through here. We gapped up out of it. We spent a lot of time out of it, and we came back to it. So I think if we kind of break up above this area, it could just be a continuation higher. BK, Bank of New York Mellon, gap down, sold off for a while here on earnings, came back up, and we're kind of right at the top of this gap. So, another pullback or go, or even just a go, then we've got a long way up here until 50. ESTC, same kind of thing as Bank of New York, where we had a gap down, ran up to close the gap, pulled back, made a higher low here, and it looks like it may be curling up to push higher. On the short size, we're looking at COR, and COR gapped down here because of earnings and put a long-legged doji and a long-legged doji. So basically just showing that there's a whole bunch of indecision here, but since the gap was lower and it gapped under a lot of price action, my bet is just going to be lower on that if we break down. AJRD, big strong kind of push up here from 45. It's been struggling to break out of this area here, which is only a little bit above this that's happening before here. We have this RSI divergence that I do watching more and more. And then we've got two indecision candles there. So if that fails and we break back down into this range, I think there's a potential that we could continue lower as people just kind of say, okay, that's enough. I gave it a chance and it didn't really work out. TXRH, same type of thing. We had a breakout here of these prior highs, and if you just look at the sheer number of dojis and indecision candles that has happened through here, just kind of shows that there's a lot of indecision here. So if this thing ends up breaking back down into this range, then I think it's the same kind of thing. People are just going to say, that's enough, I'm done. And last but not least here, Twitter. Twitter had this giant gap down and then just this kind of slow grind higher, gapped up here because of earnings and came right back in to fill the gap where it failed. And then today we also had a bit of a failure as well. So I think if we get into breakdown and get into this gap, we could just potentially test support here, which is a dollar or two away. So that is what I'm watching for this week. Again, apologize for kind of the rush, lower quality video, but I'd rather put out something that's lower quality than not at all. So we'll upload this for this week. Next week it'll be a little bit more detailed, and I'll show you the that P&L graph that we're updating weekly on that. So that will all be next week. So trade safe out there, guys.